We've generated 8 figures in pipeline and booked meetings with 85% of Fortune 500 companies using cold email outreach. But here's what shocked me. 99% of B2B companies are failing at the fundamentals and they don't even know why. Most companies think cold email is broken. Reply rates are plummeting to 0.7%. Meetings are scarce. Prospects are ignoring outreach completely. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The channel is not the problem. Your approach is fundamentally flawed. I see this constantly. Companies spending thousands on new tools, hiring more SDRs, tweaking subject lines, and adding more personalization. Meanwhile, their core strategy remains broken. They're optimizing the wrong things while their competitors, the smart ones, are booking meetings and generating qualified pipeline. I'm Kevin from Astris Partners. We're a premium fractional outbound growth partner, and we've worked with over 50 B2B companies across complex industries. Last year alone, we generated 8 figures in new pipeline for our clients while maintaining 5% plus reply rates. That's 7 times the industry average. We've booked meetings with the likes of Pfizer, Google, Amazon, and Walmart. We've helped companies like Alveo Technologies go from struggling outreach to 100 plus qualified meetings just in 2 months. Our approach isn't just different, it's what actually works when everything else fails. In this video, I'll expose the 5 fundamental mistakes killing your cold email outreach and show you the strategic framework we use to consistently book Fortune 500 meetings. This isn't about better subject lines or email templates. This is about rebuilding your entire approach from the ground up. Let me start with the biggest lie in the cold email outreach space. That personalization is the solution to your problems. I recently audited 500 cold emails sent to Fortune 500 executives by competitors and peers in the industry. These weren't lazy emails, they were highly personalized, mentioning recent news, job changes, company updates, LinkedIn posts, funding rounds, the works. The emails with the most research and personalization had response rates under 1%. Some got 0 replies from 100 cents. Companies were spending hours per email and getting nothing. Why? Because mentioning someone's LinkedIn post doesn't magically make your generic pitch relevant to their urgent business problems. We call this surface level relevance. It's like wearing a suit to the wrong meeting. You look professional, but let's be honest, you're still in the wrong place. The problem isn't lack of personalization. The problem is your personalization is irrelevant and the messages are going to the wrong people. Adding someone's name and company details to a message they don't need is fundamentally sophisticated spam, not strategic outreach. Real relevance comes from understanding their specific business triggers, not their public activity. Here's what we do instead. For our client who provides last-mile prescription delivery services, we didn't mention their CEO's LinkedIn posts or recent company news. We identified pharmacies experiencing specific operational challenges that their solution uniquely addressed. Instead of generic personalization, we targeted pharmacies based on delivery volume thresholds and compliance requirements. The result? We moved them from 98% cold calling dependency to a balanced approach that generated 80 to 100 opportunities per quarter, including one single lead worth over $250,000 annually. Why did this work? Because the message was inherently relevant to their actual operational situation, not their social media activity. We focused on the specific pain points that independent pharmacies face with delivery logistics. Stop personalizing bad messages. Start building lists of people who actually need what you're selling, and the message becomes naturally personal because it reflects their reality. This brings us to the second critical mistake: believing bigger markets mean bigger opportunities. I spoke with a founder last month who proudly told me that their software could help any company with customers. Their sales team was targeting everyone from local restaurants to enterprise software companies. Their conversion rate was 0.3%. This is what I personally refer to as broad targeting disease. The belief that casting the widest possible net will catch the most fish. In reality, you catch a lot of trash and very few fish worth keeping. When you try to serve everyone, you end up serving no one. Your message becomes generic because you can't speak specifically to anyone's situation. Your sales team struggles because they can't develop deep expertise. Your product roadmap gets pulled in 10 directions. Most importantly, your prospects can tell you don't really understand their world. Decision makers can spot generic pitches immediately because they deal with industry-specific challenges your broad message doesn't address. We help this same client focus specifically on subscription businesses facing churn issues during economic downturns. Suddenly, everything changed. Instead of "our software helps any company," their message became "we help subscription businesses retain customers when budgets are tight." Conversions jumped to 10 to 12%. Why? Because now they could speak to specific pain points, reference relevant case studies, and demonstrate deep understanding of subscription business challenges. They became indispensable of someone specific instead of irrelevant to everyone. This is exactly how we helped a specialized brand protection company book meetings with enterprise companies doing over $500 million in revenue, including major pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer and Merck, consumer leaders like Colgate, and international brands like Ferrero. We didn't target, for example, healthcare companies broadly. We focused specifically on companies with recent international expansion and specific trademark vulnerabilities in high-risk areas. That surgical precision opened doors that broad targeting just never could. Stop trying to be everything to everyone. Become indispensable to someone specific, and your outreach becomes exponentially more effective. The third mistake is believing your tech stack will save you from strategic thinking. Now, what do I mean by this? Most sales teams have identical tech stacks. ZoomInfo for contact data, Apollo for prospecting, Outreach for sequences, 6sense for intent data, and some AI tool for personalization. And they're shocked when they get the same mediocre results as everyone else using identical approaches. This is what's known as commodity thinking, right? When everyone uses the same data sources, targets the same prospects, and sends similar messages, everyone gets lost in the noise. Your prospects receive dozens of nearly identical emails because every sales team is following the same playbook. Your tools should execute your strategy, but never ever define it. But most companies let their tools dictate their approach. They target whoever appears in their intent data. They personalize based on whatever ZoomInfo provides. They send sequences based on whatever templates came up with their automation platform. This isn't strategy. This is letting vendors determine your go-to-market approach. You're essentially renting someone else's strategy and then wondering why it doesn't work. Now, don't get me wrong. We use many of the same tools as our competitors and other BD firms, but our data engineering teams creates proprietary insights that our competitors just can't access. We, for example, combine regulatory filing data with hiring patterns, match compliance requirements with technology stacks. We identify trigger events using data sources that just most sales teams fundamentally ignore. Again, speaking of our brand protection client, we didn't just look for companies that might need brand protection. We identified companies with specific intellectual property risks based on trademark filings, international expansion patterns, and counterfeiting indicators. This approach helped us book meetings with major enterprise companies, not small ones. These are companies doing minimum $500 million in global revenue. And you can think of this as a data moat. When your insights are based on unique information combinations, your competitors can't replicate your approach. Your outreach reflects genuine understanding that standard tools can't provide. So stop letting your tools define your strategy. Use them to execute insights that your competitors simply can't access. The fourth mistake that we see all the time is measuring motion instead of progress. So in a recent conversation with a VP of sales, she was very proud of her team's 50,000 plus monthly email sends. But when we dug deeper about pipeline generated and attribution, she simply couldn't give me a number. And when we talked about deal velocity, not sure. Asked about meeting quality, she started talking about open rates. Now, this is not unusual. This is the activity metrics mirage. Companies celebrate sending more emails, making more calls, and booking more meetings without asking the critical question, are these activities generating revenue? Because if not, we're just wasting our time. Most companies track metrics that feel productive but don't correlate with revenue. Open rates, click rates, response rates to generic sequences. These are vanity metrics that make you feel busy while your pipeline stays empty. We never track open rates. They're meaningless. And open rates don't predict whether someone will buy from you. Optimizing for opens is like optimizing for website visits instead of actual conversions. Our approach is radically different. We focus exclusively on metrics that predict revenue. Apply quality, meeting conversion rates, pipeline velocity, and deal closure probability. Our typical clients send fewer emails than you'd expect, but they generate 2, 3, 4, 500% more qualified pipeline. For context, most B2B companies celebrating a 1% reply rate, less than that. We're consistently achieving 5% plus reply rates, but more importantly, our replies lead to qualified meetings 60 to 70% of the time. Why? Because we're reaching out to the right people at the right time with messages that reflect their actual needs. This quality-focused approach is how we deliver 3 times SDR output for the cost of 1. And clients don't need to hire 3 SDRs because our strategic approach generates more qualified pipeline than 3 traditional SDRs ever could. Going back to the example I provided earlier is the prescription delivery client. And instead of sending 10,000 generic emails, we sent targeted messages that generated significant opportunities. And that's the power of focusing on quality metrics over activity metrics. So stop celebrating activity, start measuring outcomes. Pipeline generated matters more than emails sent. The final mistake is not understanding what cold email actually reveals about your strategy. Cold email is the most honest channel in your GTM, your go-to-market stack. Let me explain. LinkedIn gives you social context and relationship warmth. Paid ads uses algorithms to find whoever clicks, hiding poor targeting behind machine learning. Content marketing attracts people already interested in your topic. But cold email has no buffer. It's a direct, unforgiving test of whether you truly understand your prospect's world. If your message doesn't reflect genuine understanding of their specific situation, it fails immediately. No algorithm saves you. No social context helps you. No existing interest carries you. This honesty is why we love cold email. It forces you to build better strategy, not just better copy. If your cold email isn't working, don't blame deliverability, subject lines, or the channel itself. Look at your fundamental approach. Are you reaching the right people? Are you contacting them at the right time? Does your message reflect their actual situation? Do you understand their business enough to provide genuine value? Now, cold email success isn't about tactics. It's about strategy. Use cold email as a strategic diagnostic tool. If it's not working, your targeting and messaging strategy needs fundamental improvement. Cold email outreach fails when you focus on downstream tactics instead of upstream strategy. You've got to stop personalizing irrelevant messages. You've got to stop targeting absolutely everyone. You've got to stop letting tools define your approach. You need to stop measuring activity instead of outcomes. And most importantly, stop blaming the channel when it's your strategy that's broken. The companies winning at cold email outreach understand 5 principles. First, relevance comes from understanding prospects' actual situations, not their social media activity. 2, becoming indispensable to someone specific beats being irrelevant to everyone. Third, unique insights create competitive advantages that tools alone simply cannot provide. Fourth, quality metrics predict revenue better than activity metrics. And 5, cold email success requires strategic thinking, not just tactical execution. So if you're serious about transforming your outbound results, book a complimentary strategy call with me. We'll analyze your current approach and show you exactly how to build a systematic, insight-driven engine that generates consistent pipeline. During this call, we'll review your targeting strategy, evaluate your current metrics, and if we're a good fit, we'll even design a custom growth plan based on your specific market and goals. The link is in the description. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.